everyone. This is Joe Riggio with Socially Joe, episode 26, which I have to say, this is going to be a great episode for you to listen to because I brought on a great guest. He is with great coaching, excellent performance, and basically his name is Mitchell. So therefore, I'm going to turn it over to Mitchell right now. So Mitchell, tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit more about Excellence Performance before we go into the questions.
Thanks, Joe. So excited to be on and really appreciate you having me and giving me the chance to share a little bit about myself and what I do. So I'm the Executive Director of Finance at Excellence Performance. I've got an accounting finance background, but I love speaking, love coaching. And so what Excellence Performance is basically we're a business coaching and leadership development company. We've got a team of experienced professionals that provide coaching on personal development, communication, leadership, and we do seminars all over the country and most of them here locally in Sarasota, Bradenton area.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, and it was interesting because I actually met you through another type of connection point, John Barringer, who I've had on my show.
Yep.
So I'm glad we got connected. So I know we kind of went through the first one about, tell us a little bit more, like maybe if you can give us a little bit more dive deep into, tell us more about yourself and like where you started from, how you got introduced to be the Executive Director of Finance at Excellence Performance. Tell us how that went involved with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I definitely operate in a bit of a unique role and kind of skipped a few rungs up the ladder, if you will. And so a lot about me, kind of how I tick, it really goes back to my family and my parents. And so I'm the first person in my family actually born in America. And everybody, they came here, they migrated, they really had no money, no understanding the language. And so what that meant growing up in an immigrant family was really there was not a whole lot of entitlement or enablement. There also wasn't a whole lot of, hey, let's have a bunch of fun and do what you like to do. It's more, no, everyone's been sacrificing. So you have a strong career, you study hard and you get great grades. And so after a while, I was like, okay, this is kind of the program that I'm signed up for. So let's do it and let's crush it. And I went to a top university, got a degree in accounting, a degree in finance. Most of you who know me, and as you may discover during this call, not really wired like your typical accountant, Joe. And so during that process, I also started building a MLM business, learning sales, got involved in personal development, and through that process discovered I had my passion of coaching and public speaking. And I remember I was actually at a large seminar, and one of the main speakers there is my boss today. And I was just blown away by how he was able to captivate an audience. And I was watching him and I'm like, I want to be like that when I grow up. And so I followed him around during the seminar, finally got a hold of him and started talking with him a little bit and found out he did seminars where I lived locally at the time in Chicago. I actually ended up hiring him as my own coach, and needless to say, as the process developed, he said, come move down here. I'll show you how to build a career in public speaking and in coaching. And in the meantime, build a finance department and run the finances of my businesses. And so I went, I have no clue how to do that, but if you're going to show me how, I'm teachable and I'll figure it out. And been baptism by fire, but that's a bit of how I got here. And I've been loving every moment of it.
That's amazing. I love it. And just, how you explained it, perfect. There was no entitlement. You had to work hard. You got where even though you said you skipped some rungs, you got to where you wanted because you worked hard for it. And that's great.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I know you said you kind of got introduced to them, but and you started like your little MLM in the sales. But when you started your little MLM in the sales, I know I'm going off a little bit, but did you enjoy it? What made you like to start that MLM?
So I was one of the weirdest oddball. So it was a wellness nutritional supplement company. I was the one guy who actually got into it because I wanted to sell supplements. I was like, nutrition, that's amazing. Yeah, I'll sell all my friends bottles of vitamins. I think I was the only person like that ever. But when I got into it, I remember doing a business presentation, and MLM, there was a lot of negativity in the community around it. And all of a sudden, all my friends started turning on me. all my friends start saying, why are you doing this? You're just taking advantage of people. This isn't a great business model. And it really shook me to my core because I suffered from a lot of what we call at our company look good programs, caring what other people thought of me. And I was really at a battle between here's what I know is right and what can really create a big difference in people's lives. And I see people successful in it. But then here's the majority who are disapproving and bashing me for trying to pursue my dreams. And so I originally loved it. Then it was extremely challenging because I had a lot of me to grow and get out of my own way to really start succeeding in it and helping other people step into that.
Awesome. That's great. Well, I have to say, I'm kind of an MLM too, and I was very hesitant to get in this MLM, but I know the mentality that you see on both sides of the coin. So
right. Yeah. It's personal development boot camp. Like regardless of what you say, MLM good or bad, you get in, you have to grow yourself. There's no way around it.
Well, yes, I totally agree with you. You have to learn how to grow, but then I think it also kind of teaches people a little bit of sales, but you have to be careful of the sales that you go with because just as you mentioned with your friends saying that you're doing the wrong thing, you're forcing people to do this. I've been in sales where I've seen people do that, but I'm more the salesperson that kind of helps and guides people and not forces them. So there's two different sides of sales. You just have to find out which one you're doing and which one's the appropriate one.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah.
So what is one of your favorite personal development quotes that you have thus far?
That's that's tough given my industry, and I've been doing it for a bit. I would say, okay, so one of the ones that has been the most impactful in my life, I'll do that. Jim Rohn, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I'm still in awe sometimes when I say this to individuals and they've never heard of this quote. And this is what I really built my life around, understanding this principle. Because when I look at, okay, if I'm breaking this down, I'm analyzing it a little bit. What does it mean to be the average of the 5 people I spend the most time with? Well, when it comes to finances, my financial future is going to be the average of the finances of the 5 people I spend the most time with. My success in life, my perspective, my positivity, my mindset is going to average out to the people that are around me. And so it's funny because I've learned, even from a health standpoint, like a practical way to look at it. They did a study on this, Joe. It was really fascinating. If one of your close friends becomes obese, your chances of gaining weight and inevitably becoming obese increase by 57%. Just because someone close to you started gaining weight. And so this is one of my favorite quotes because you can really dictate and decide where you're going to go in life and what you're going to attract solely by monitoring and having awareness of the people that are around you.
Wow, I like that. That is really good. And that did made me think there because I could think about a couple of times in the past where I did gain a little weight because of other things. I'm like, now I'm gonna put them on a good diet.
That's right. What I don't want you to take away from this is you listen to it and then you evaluate your friends, and anyone who's got too high of a BMI, you're like, sorry, see ya, can't risk it. That's not the point of it. But
no. I'm going more like I'm going to go over them and say, hey, look, here's celery stick. Want to have a celery stick?
Yeah, you're going to move them into being more like you and losing a bit of the weight and staying in shape. And that's honestly what it is are we uplifting people or are we getting put down by them?
Yeah, and that's never the case. I always like to try to help people, and one of my friends and I tried to do like a weight challenge thing, and I actually did lose some weight. And he has not as much, but then he had some medical issues that had to deal, so that hindered him. So I'm hopefully he gets back on track, and I'm here for him as a support as he was for me. So
absolutely, there's balance with it, and in having in all personal development.
Exactly, which then brings us what is one of the biggest obstacles you have overcome, or what is one of the biggest obstacles you have overcome with like clients that you've seen in any of your professions?
Yeah, I'd love to. I'll give you two quick ones. One personally, one for a client. For me personally, and this is what's interesting, is a lot of our coaches all have had a large obstacle or something that they've overcome. And I find that it's in adversity that we're really able to grow the most. And the larger the obstacle we have, and I really hope your listeners really understand this, the larger the obstacle that we have in our lives, the greater the opportunity for it to benefit us. So the bigger the challenge, the bigger the thing holding us back, the more capacity it has to help us move forward. And so for me, one of the things was I had a bad neck injury when I was 16 years old in gymnastics. And what ended up happening is I had my C1 start to calcify to where today that piece of my spine is 70 years old.
Ooh.
So and I love having physical activity. I love being out and about, but every single day since 16 years old, I've had neck pain, and I've had that holding me back to where every single day I have to intentionally hold myself back from operating at 100% because I can't take the pain. And it's a bit tough being positive, being happy, caring for other people when you've got this nagging, aching pain in your neck 24/7. And
I bet.
A little bit, but what ended up happening is I found that if I could overcome that and I can find a state of gratitude, I can find a state of positivity and monitor my neck pain, there's not a whole lot else that can throw me off from being in a state of gratitude. And in addition to it, I've got an accountability partner for the rest of my life, my neck, saying anytime I eat junk food, I've got inflammation, I've got extra pain. Anytime I'm not taking care of myself, both stress-wise or physically, my neck starts acting up. And so what at first I thought was this huge detriment is now like an alarm bell going, hey, I have to monitor something to make sure I'm staying on track with my physical health, my emotional health, my mental health, all of the above.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit more on the other side now.
And the other side with the client. So I had a young adult that I was working with, and he was suffering from alcoholism. He was really, really tough relationship with his parents to where he really didn't even want to talk to them, and moved out solely because he just couldn't stand being around them. He really was not passionate about what he did for work and was honestly unfulfilled and spiraling out. And this was a young guy. And so a couple of areas where he was really struggling and just not a lot of self-worth. And over a 6-month period of coaching one-on-one every single week, we were able to identify the root causes, the behavior, the underlying conditions as to where was the alcoholism coming from, where was the trauma, where was the issues with family relationships. And I kid you not, 6 months in, he hadn't had a sip of alcohol for 3 months. He had improved his relationship with his parents to the point where he can't remember the last time he had meaningful, in-depth conversations with them. He was fulfilled on purpose with his career and in a partnership with growing a business with one of his parents. And it was the first time he was debt-free in 7 years. And so it was a couple of obstacles, but really it came down to his self-worth and how he valued himself. We were able to recover and replenish that and fill him up. And all these things started just falling into place. And within 6 months, he's radically transformed the life that he's living in today.
That's awesome. I love it. So then that kind of leads me into the next kind of question is, we know that you're a coach, but
yes,
do coaches have coaches for themselves?
I can't speak on behalf of all coaches.